Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Flying with Mike. Today we're flying Alaskan Bush from Nunavik Pass Airport over to Chandler Lake Airport. Papa Alpha Kilo Papa for those of you wanting to know the call letters, and Papa Alpha Lima for the arrival. So today's flight will be flown via far weather due to snow and all over in Chandler Lake. Yes, it's June, and yes, I used the word snow. Actually, Anuvik Pass later today is expecting freezing rain and snow as well. So, with the mountains, as you can see in the background there, it's best we fly via far. That way, that granite cumulus behind us, we don't run into because you don't come out of it, folks. Or if you do, not many survive. But anyway, so we're up here on the airport. Let's kind of give you a broad look here uh, at this little airport up here by the Dalton Highway, um, just so you can kind of see the terrain we're flying in up here. Not the really big mountains down in the southern part of the state, but yet another mountain pass nonetheless. The Dalton Highway, referred to as, if you watch Ice Road Truckers, road from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay, a lot of trucks running it, keeping things along the way serviced. That's really the only road north. Well, you go from Anchorage to Fairbanks. Once you get to Fairbanks, roads become so scarce. That's the only one north, and they don't really spider out much. So, talked to a guy at the airport a couple days ago who's actually from Nome. They're not connected at all, folks. They have about a 60-mile long road that runs up in that area, and that's about it. So, folks, that is the great frontier of Alaska. But anyway, we're in the Caravan, and the only reason I'm not taking up the new one today, and it's not because of the engine fires of the last time, but merely because Chandler Lake is a 3,000-foot runway that's pushing the limits of the King Air. And with everything else that's been going on, I don't need that added stress put on. So we're going to just fly the Caravan and we'll be able to make that. Hopefully, I say that and watch me hit hard. But anyway, we're up here in Alaska flying the Era Alaska, November 411 Gulf Victor Caravan. Let's hop up into the cockpit and let's get this show going. All right. First things first. Um, we have the Caravan, as you saw, opened up, ready for passengers. The C, D, and O here, and I'm glad I just mentioned that because I need to turn the volume down. Otherwise, when those engines come alive, they're going to blow us out. Okay, so we're going to be doing a quick down and dirty pre-flight brief on this with Sim Toolkit, and then we're going to get rolling. Loadout for today, by the way, is 7 passengers. And 100 pounds of cargo. That'll bring our payload up to 1,710 pounds. Zero fuel weighting at 6454 on the pounds. Fuel will be loading 1,298. So with that information, let me make sure I didn't do what I did. Okay, I'm glad I didn't. We're going to load the aircraft right here. So we'll go to Flight, then Edit Weight and Balance. Now I'm going to go ahead and zero things out and then come back 1710 and fill them up 1710. Okay, and fuel again was 1298. And as you can see, it fills it up and sets our CG properly. Okay, and click done and apply. And now our aircraft, for the sim purposes, is now loaded. Now, with this flight, we're going to go ahead now and pull Sim Toolkit over. Let me find it here. I had it in a different position yesterday, so bear with me. Okay. All right, so there's Sim Toolkit. So now we've got it where it's a little bit more visible. Um, you can see the loadout again. There is no cruise profile other than we're going to have 1900 on the props. I do apologize for that quick break there, folks. The altitude we're going to cruise at is 7,000 feet. Now, looking at um, Sky Vector, when we do this flight, let me set it back up for the proper run here. PALR. Okay, I am seeing minimum safe altitudes on the VFR sectional of 7,800 feet. So more than likely, look for us to go at 9,000. We'll set 7,000, but I'm a little leery of that number. 68's fine for about 3/4 of it, but the first quarter to half, that's going to put us pretty close. So, but we'll see. We'll, you know, see what happens when we get in the air. We're also going to fly this on VATSIM. So we'll pull that up and get it going here in a moment. The flight plan's loaded. I just haven't brought or have flight or VATSIM or the pilot client running yet. All right, so going back to Sim Toolkit. So we'll close the load and go to the flight plan itself so you can see it. Again, it's the Cessna 208. Those of you interested, it's a Pratt & Whitney PT6A 114 Alpha engine up front, and only one. Uh, Air distance 104 miles, average wind 185 degrees at 6 knots, so a little bit of a nose headwind, kind of quartering. Here's our fuel breakdown from trip and reserves, taxi, and all of that. Here's our routing, though. Basically, we're going direct. We're going to go from the NDB here at Anaktuvuk Pass, AKP, to the one at Chandler. There are no RNAV approaches into Chandler, so this one will be challenging. We're going to have to find the airport and then set up the land. And looking at the sectional, I can't tell if we're in a valley or what we're in. So it's going to be, as they always say when you fly with Mike, it's always going to be an interesting ride. Let me just one more time. Well, we're going to be right by a lake, so we have a chance at a decent runway. We'll see. Runways are, I believe, 03. We'll look it up here in a minute. But we'll look it up, get that, and we'll have that. We're planning 03. Again, it's at 1,920 feet, length 3,000 feet. So we don't get the width. So that's why the King Air is not employed today. We're employing probably the correct aircraft. All right, so finaling this out, here is our times. 1:05 is what's scheduled, an hour and 5 minutes. Estimating an hour and 22, so we'll see how that breaks down. And here's our weights, 7 passengers, 100 pounds of cargo, our payload, and ZFW. All right, so there you go, folks. That wraps that portion up. And I had a feeling it was going to do that like it's been doing all the time, so I have a backup. Hang on a second. We'll swap into the backup for that. We'll pull that up. And hang on a second while we do that. And come on, mouse, do your thing. There we go. All right, so there's the charting. You can kind of see what we're doing. Now, I don't have this set up for the low altitude stuff. Really, there is nothing in the charts program for that. I've looked. Only got low en route and world map, and those really won't do the job. And I'm really shocked they never put sectionals in here. especially since the ability to do that in Sim Toolkit's there. Unless I'm missing a setting and I don't know where to set those at. So, but anyway, as I said, I'm actually going to put them in right now. That'll be AKP to CQR. Save. And there you go. You're going to see some of the issues we're going to have. Runway 3 is in there. I don't know why. Yeah, we're going to runway 3. Anyway, there are no approaches. So as we zoom in, there's our Chandalar Lake. Again, you really can't see what we're up against here on this one, but we'll do what we can. It's a straight line shot. So we'll do the best we can. Of course, we'll be using the GPS, so don't worry, folks. We're not going to get lost too badly. But again, as you look here, though, you see your minimum saves, 85, 83, 79, 9,000, 8,000. Of course, nothing right dead track on our track. That's close enough for me to take heed that 7,000 may be too low. But VFR, that's a whole different story. But here's our airport. I don't have any information for Chandalar Lake, so I can't show any of that. But you can see where we're parked. We're going to back taxi runway 20 and then take off. Get on course and head our way there. Now, when we take off, we may have to do a gentle right-hand turn to stay in the, I'll call it quote, quote, pass. But that's it. That's pretty simple stuff there, folks. So let's get on and get this plane in the air. All right, so checklist wise, we just completed the pre-flight inspection. The weight and balance, we just updated, making sure our fuel numbers will be correct. I'm going to go ahead and double check. Only because I ran into this once with the King Air. Okay, so we're good. Okay. Doors, they're still open. We're going to go ahead and close up the baggage and the passenger door. And let's go ahead while we're at it and get rid of the static things out there. And I'll go ahead and keep my door open. Okay, I'm closing my door. I can't find my click spot all of a sudden. That's probably because I moved it up, the view. All right, so we're all buttoned up. Let's get into this and get started up. Okay, crew doors are closed. Parking brake. That is this little gizmo right here. It's set. Seatbelts and harnesses are in place. All switches are off. Okay, going across. Ignition, normal. Here, let's take a closer look. It is set at normal. Circuit breakers are all in. I don't think we have any behind us. Nope. Just the peeps. Fuel tank selector. That's up top here, folks. Let's do this the proper way where you can see a little better. Both tanks are on. That's these two levers. We're going to go ahead because of possible high altitude flying. We'll get that turned on, the oxygen. Radar is off. That would be here on this switch. The air conditioners, again, we did that with our all switches. These are all the air conditioners, bleed air, everything's pushed in or off. And emergency power is set. All right, so let's move the props forward. Why am I missing a lever? Oh, it's hiding behind the throttle. Interesting. I'm like, where is the condition lever for the fuel? It's actually right over here, folks. See, if you move the throttle, you see it. It won't move right now otherwise. Fuel condition is at cutoff, verified. Rudder locks off, fuel cutoff is on. All right, so we're going to get the battery switch turned on. Flaps are up. No smoking signs. They're right here, and seatbelts would be right here. They are not monitored or modeled, but I just turned the nav switches on, so the nav lights are on. We'll do a fire detection check. One light, folks. There's only one engine. Okay, and we'll do the rest. Okay, and we can set them day, night, and I just checked that. Okay, and it's set. Moving on now to the engine start off the battery. Okay, so like I said, the battery's already on. Now, one thing I always do when I'm ready to start up, I kick the beacon on. That way people around the aircraft know. We'll open the little window and say, clear prop. Again, audibly now telling them, get away from the prop. It's about to kick over, and it will hurt. Fuel boosts. Okay, coming on. Let me just make sure standby power's on. Ignition now to normal. We're on. Okay, so I'm going to come back to 4. Whoop, to that view. Tilt down a little. We're going to, oh, actually we need to do this, I think. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we're going to tap the starter switch to on. You see the lights coming on up here. Blades starting to spin. X-Plane, by the way, modeled this superbly. And then with our N1 up at 20%, we'll go to low. Once we get into the green with the N1, which we just did, the starter can come off. Now I'm going to do 3 taps of the starter. So that way when I turn the ignition off, the light itself is off. It's a little bug, I guess you'd call it. I don't think it's in the real plane, but that way the ignition light will come off. It's just a little workaround. Okay, starters checked off. Inverters we don't have. No, we do not. Thought for a second we did. Standby power's on. Avionics can come on. Fuel pumps. Go to normal. And that should have gone out. We're going to turn ignition to normal. Not to normal. Let's get our lighting set. Bleed air on. Get all of our comfort measures going for our passengers. They're the reason we do this, folks, remember. Oxygen is on. Okay. Alright, so we'll scroll down, we'll set our decision height for 200. Okay. And fuel boost is off, standby power is on. Okay, so let's get into setting up our radios. There. Turn the avionics master on. We're going to kind of zoom in to do this. First thing I'm going to do is set us to 1200. Go to standby, and now I'm going to come on to VATSIM. Cancel. So, time connect. Flight plan. 5. Okay, we are now on VATSIM. And start flight. And my ACARS program is turned on as well. So, standby. Alright, so let's set this up here. Okay, so being on VATSIM, we're good with the 122.8. What I'm going to do is set 123.450 below. I just like it. It's POSCON's guard channel. We're not on POSCON, I know, but it's a cute radio frequency. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, for the navs, we really don't have a nav frequency. So we'll just kind of make one up. We really don't, folks. There isn't anything out of here. Altitude-wise, we're going to set 7,000, and that's as far as we go. Okay, so got the GPS up here. How do we make it look so we see the route? Well, got over on the GPS side, where you see push cursor, you'll see a little one, a little half turn, and our larger half turn. For the little one, turn it 1 click. 3 clicks puts you in vertical navigation. The middle one puts you on that. However, this isn't helping us. So we're going to go to the flight plan. Aha, there's PAKP. Literally, all we need to put in here is PALR, because there are no fixes in between this route. But we're going to go ahead and put some in, because I know some of you are still not understanding the GPS. It's a real simple tool. I'd like to get in a real plane and see if it is this easy. I'll be totally honest with you. Okay, so we're going to drop it. Okay, so what I did is I just pushed the cursor, which highlighted it, and then on the outer ring moved it down. And we just have to go to alpha. Move it over 1 kilo. Move it over 1 up. And then all you have to do is, if that's right, which it is, push accept and accept. That's not our arriving waypoint. That's a nice try. The next one, if you are looking at our flight plan, and I'm seeing if it's real close here. Yes, it is. CQR. So that'll be Charlie. Too far. Come back. Chandalar Lake, NDB. Enter, enter. And then all we got to do is put Alpha, Alpha, Lima, Romeo. That's our enter. And there you go, folks. And then just rolling this lever up, you can preview the flight plan. Everything looks good. 83 miles, 83.6 miles to be exact, and we'll be there. So, and then you can click this to turn it off. Flight plan puts us back up. We're ready to go, folks. To be totally honest with you, again, we have 7,000 initially set, just so that we can get up and see how we're doing with the mountains. So there you go, folks. That's how simple it is to program the GPS. Alright, so we need to get taxiing. So, with a VIA, and I am running on a VFR flight plan, so the only reason Center would contact us, do you want flight following? No. So, that's why we're flying VFR. Alright, so, coming down. Turn the lights off, and, well, we'll keep the lights on for now. And, Peter, let's do it this way. Sorry. Giving me a heart attack here, folks. Pitot heat, stall on. We don't need anything else. We'll turn those on as needed. Okay, so let me see if I do this good. Taxi, brake check, and flight instrument check. So what we're going to do, let's see, can we, barely, see way out on the wingtip, folks, let me point my mouse in that direction. Barely see them moving. So, even in this plane, you can't really tell. Let's go ahead and close that door, make it a little quieter. So we'll just, okay, wheel centered, centered, back, centered, forward. Now in the real Cessnas, real Piper, well, Pipers, you can definitely see it. But Cessnas, real ones, usually where you're sitting, you're kind of not at a level like this. You're kind of, let me show you a little better. Okay, first off, we're going to be closer to our seat, and we're going to be down a little. Is that too far? That's way too far, but you get the idea. All right, so we are ready to taxi, folks. Let's head on out to the runway, shall we? And it's going to sound, it could. Let me know if that's too loud for you. Like I said, it almost feels like we're going to full throttle. Taxi lights on. There you go, folks. Just doing a quick check up here, and we are on the map. Okay, we're going to give it a little bit more condition lever. Amazes me sometimes how much power in the gravel runways we have to use. But folks, welcome to flying the Alaskan bush. I know there's a lot of you out there that like the GA aircraft. I happen to love flying up here in the Alaska territory, especially in this part of the world. Hang on a second. I did not see a taxiway out my way. I think we're going to fall for that one. We'll just do the back taxi. But beautiful territory out here. And it is the middle of nowhere. Price of everything out here, folks, is extremely expensive. Because everything's flown in or in on a barge. If the rivers will accept it. Alright, so we're coming up to the runway, so we're going to kick the strobes and the runway lights on. And Anaktuvuk Pass traffic, Mac Air 572 type Caravan, VFR traffic will be departing runway 20. We're entering the runway for back taxi. So here we go, folks. One thing I did not set, which we'll do down here. Actually, I might be able to do it while we're taxiing. Set our heading bug. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead now. We're going to go to high idle. Maybe that'll help. I would have loved to have flown this into King Air. Give it another try. I had some instructions from the mod creator to turn the anti-ice on, which I swear was on. Maybe not on the approach to Anaktuvuk Pass. He has something weird in it that says at 3,000 feet, if it's not on, to flame up the engines. I don't get it. The only time rocks are going to be a problem in flight, actually, is if someone throws them at you. The chances of them hitting you at 3,000 feet, 1,000 feet, 100 feet, next to none. But I didn't get a chance to try it because of the 3,000-foot runway staring us down. And with the King Air, it would have to be perfect. And with everything else going wrong with it on me, I don't want to take that chance. Okay. Making sure we're set here. Free. Looking at for the first heading 100. Holy mackerel. Oh, that does make sense now looking at the GPS. Okay. Just getting things kind of set up. All right, so you can kind of see when we take off, we're going to angle to the right until we get some altitude and come around. We are going to drop notch of flaps. We are full on the prop. We're going to turn the radar on, even though I've got VFR manually tuned in. Make sure we're on. Everything looks good. Put that away. Here we go. Anaktuvuk Pass traffic, Mac Air 572, departing runway 20.
V1. Rotate. V2.
Up. We're going to set 90 for our initial climb here. Set our props. Alright, so let's kick the autopilot on. Heading. Always love when it makes me have to do this. Okay, and there we go. Climbing out. Flap can come up now. We're going to go ahead now and initiate that turn. I'm gonna keep turning 'cause Alright, so we're coming up to 5,500 feet. And give me some power here. Go. And let's go a little tighter. So let's go through our checklist. I've got to wait till we get up high enough here, folks, to work our way back. Let's see here if we can achieve just come back on the reciprocal, which is going to be 060 here in a minute. Actually, 060, I'm going to turn a little bit more this way. Get us wings level. Should bring us right down that pass, and hopefully we're climbing again. Okay, bear with me here. I'm just setting props and power. So it's going to take us on the path to intercept out over here instead of over the airport. So that's cool. We'll set our heading bug. We're still climbing. Holy cow. You know what? We're just going to go for it. Lights off. Okay, we're on our way, folks. Sorry for that. Just let's see how it looks outside the plane. There's where we took off from. Coming up on 9,000. See if it grabs this one. this sometimes is the hardest part, folks, of flying the Carenado. It blows through altitudes and never sets. It's very, very temperamental. I don't know if the real plane's that way or not, I'll be totally honest. Technically, I'm sure someone out there wants to say to me 9,500 feet is what I should be flying at. I may set that. Matter of fact, I think I just a very slight adjustment, and we'll make a change in our flight plan too. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's do our climb out. We did that. Okay, so en route climb we've done. Alright, cruise. We're at, ouch, sorry folks, cut my arm yesterday. Just put my hand on it. Ouch. 1900 RPM set. We are on let's just zoom in because it's so much easier. Okay, ITT. They need to come back a smidgy. Stay below 740 on the ITT. RPMs are looking good. So as we go across torque, I pulled us back to 16, keeping us out under 740. We're at about 1850 to 1900 on the props. ITT at 720. Just below 100% on our N2 oil, and temperatures, pressure and temperatures look good, fuel flow looks good, and obviously we got enough gas in the tanks. Alright, there we go, we're at 9,500 feet, leveling off. So, there you go, folks. We are on our way according to SimBrief, or Sim Toolkit. Our ETA is, actually, let me not use this one. 25 minutes. And like I said, we do not have an RNAV approach in here. This is a shock we don't have an NDB. But we're coming in 25 minutes out. Alright folks, so we're in cruise. Any questions, comments? If I done anything wrong, right, hey, feel free to let me know. I can take it. believe me, I take it from ATC all the time. Okay, after landing here at Chandalar Lake, we are going to try and do another flight up to Arctic, I think it's called Arctic Village. Let me pull up the flight planning for that. Arctic Village is the destination on our next one. So, look forward to that as well. We'll be flying it in the Caravan again because of the 3,000-foot runway. And no instrument references to help us in getting set up here. So, all right, folks. So we're, well, let's see. Let's take a look outside the plane. Have environment installed. Wow, looks good. Also, I don't have any ortho anywhere in the world, let alone up here in Alaska. Awesome, I think. If it's what I think it is. I've not even seen it. So. But any suggestions, comments, folks, we'd love to hear from you. Again, Hudson Acresy came aboard yesterday right at the end. Thank you for that follow. And folks, if you like it, please follow us. We fly these, we try to fly them on Wednesdays, these Alaskan flights. However, I work a 24-hour on, 48-hour off shift at the firehouse at the airport. So, obviously, every third Wednesday, I'm working. So we try to either set it up on, I try to do them on Tuesdays if possible. But sometimes I have to push them up to Thursday. But other than that, we fly them on the Wednesdays, so feel free to fly with us. And we do try to go VFR. We also try our best to fly with the weather. But when the weather either is below minimums, or in this case, just going to be impossible to work with the mountains and all, we're not going to do it, folks. For the fun and the love of flying, we're going to do this. Put it up here. In VFR conditions. Now I set the barometric pressures, and if temperatures are given to me, I'll put those out there. But there's no temperatures on this. Well, there is one at Chandalar. But anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy the flight. Like I said, we're about 25 miles out, or 25 minutes out. My bad. We're going to go ahead and slide this over here and just kind of keep on cruising here. Just kind of slide around the plane here. There's the lake to the north there, if you can see it. Move down out of the way a little. But yeah, folks, the guys up in Alaska fly these all the time, running supplies all over the place. Out here in the middle, folks, this is literally the middle of nowhere. Down in the States, you may live out in the desert. Nothing for miles around you. Here, nothing for hundreds of miles around. I think the closest major city is Fairbanks, about 150 miles south, 200. Is not close. Now, Fort Yukon, I don't know how big of a town that is, but that's getting in the area of Chandalar Lake and Arctic Village. So, yeah, folks, up here, people just want to be by themselves. So, or hunt or whatever. But we fly it in for them. Either them in or supplies in to them. And in this case, this may be the only plane to get some of that stuff in, unless the river allows for marging of some kind. So, but I love flying these areas up here. I fell in love with it after a cruise about 10 years or so ago. We went into Ketchikan and we flew a float plane. Took a float plane tour up to, well, he basically flies for about an hour or two, brings you back to Ketchikan. And they'll land on a lake, let you get out. Folks, we got out on those pontoons on Watson Lake. Folks, you know the song that made famous The Sound of Silence? I can't think of the name of the people. I'm talking, got it right on the tip of my tongue. Can't think of it. How deafening The Sound of Silence is? It was unreal how quiet it was. I just sat there in awe of what God created up here, this whole world, just how quiet it was up here at Watson Lake, just about 100 miles from Ketchikan. If that, I don't even think it's that far. Folks, it was amazing. I would love to build a cabin there, get the internet in so I can do what I do here and fly with you all here on Flying with Mike. Folks, that was just eye-opening and awe-inspiring. Like I said, what God created. So, anyway, loved it. So, well, let's get into the cockpit here. Let's see where we stand on our flight. We're definitely not going to be doing any kind of descending here anytime soon. We're 48 miles out. Okay. Let's go ahead and pop this out a little. About halfway there. And I'll tell you, folks, the whole trip was just awe-inspiring. Alaska is just, I mean, folks, you can say, oh, I live in God's country. K-Town, up in PA, or out in Colorado. Very beautiful territories, folks, don't get me wrong. I've been there, loved them, enjoyed every bit of what they offer. But God's country is still up in Alaska, folks. It's untamed, untouched, and I'm here to tell you, it could scare the heck out of you. So, let alone get a grizzly in front of you standing 2 feet above you, that would help too. So, or a moose with that rack 2 feet on either side of you. That would kind of scare me too. So, but yeah, folks, it's very, I mean, it was just unbelievable. Even Anchorage, even though I know it's probably like most major cities now, crime-ridden, gang-infested, just horrors of what the police have to go through now in these major cities, to include Anchorage. But to get away from it just a little, just what's around it is by God, believable. And praise be to God for just how beautiful it is. And by the way, folks, we were there tail end of August, going into Labor Day, right when it shifts from summer, their little week or two of fall, into winter. It's a pretty quick change from what I've heard up there. And it was cloudy, misty, rainy, but it was still probably some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen. Just in Anchorage, let alone once we got down into the passage. Never got a chance to come up into the up towards Fairbanks, down the Alcan. But yeah, it is beautiful. So we now stand. Well, let's take a look here. Now, when you're on, now this is what I don't like about the X-Plane GPS 430. When you run with at least the 530, you get distances to fix. I think it gives you time as well. That may be Chandler's Lake, or I don't know. But anyway, you get that information. You don't right on this screen. So what you got to do is put your cursor real close to where it says push cursor. Get that little half turn down to the left, and there it'll tell you distance out 40 miles, track 101, and what time we should be there. Which that's not right. Alright, so we're back. Starting to show. We're going to check for procedures. Let's, just in case. None. Kind of figured. And cool. Alright, so we got no procedures into here, folks. So we pull out the little handy-dandy sectional. And we take a look. Let me see if I can do that for you. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave the GPS up for the second. Eventually, we are going to be descending down to 7,500 feet. Okay. And here we go. All right. Let me write that over. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with, folks. Let me cut that over there. Okay. As you look at this map, we're coming down the track here. We're going to be tracking. Let's go ahead and first get that put in there. 263. Of course, you're going to be the pain that you always are to me. That'll help us in tracking where we're going. We're going to set our little nav dial up here for it. And that'll put us right towards it. That'll help a little. Now, Chandalar Lake, 3,000 foot, 1,920 feet above, 122.9 is the frequency. I'm thinking when we see the water, kind of come in along the coastline here and kind of just follow it up to land. Remember, we're landing at about 030, so it's going to be somewhat like this, something like that. So we're going to go ahead and come down to at least 75. On the torque, so we can maintain what we're doing. Let's go ahead and kick our lights on, just so people who might be in the pattern, might be out flying and not on a radio talking to us, can see us. Okay, now let's one more glance at it, then I'm going to get rid of that map. Okay, so 2,500 foot around here, 18. Okay, so all right, so you kind of get a feel where this airport's sitting is something like this is our runway. Okay, so let's pull that away. Level off, we're going to kick some power back in up to about 1,700. So you can kind of get a feel of what these guys, bush pilots up here, actually do. Yes, the GPS is their mainstay, but they also have this little gauge called the NDB, which we set to 263. Just verifying. 263 is the frequency. All right, so the big thing we're looking for now, folks, is that lake. Let's make sure we're we're just passing 8,000. I'll go ahead and turn the taxi lights on. I thought I did. Should still have strobes and all of them on. Okay. Now, if we had the no smoking and seatbelt signs, yes, we'd be turning them on now. And folks, there really isn't a need. These planes don't fly 2,000 miles. You know, they don't fly more than an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. I watched a show, you all probably did too, called Flying Wild Alaska. The goal is to put in an hour's, I think, worth of fuel. Well, an hour's flight worth of fuel in the Caravans and the Cessnas, so that they could put the most people baggage on it, and that's the radius they flew. So in a Caravan at 1 hour's fuel, let's call it 160 mile radius from the takeoff point. We'll call it that. Now granted, you got to have your reserves and all of that, but you get the point. Then they can put as much as they can behind them. All right, so here we go. So that gives you an idea of what you can expect. We're still descending, of course. Let's get this thing back up to 7,500 feet. Power back up. Actually, I think it never mind. Okay, we'll trim her up for 7,500 feet. I was looking at that one hill up ahead going, man, that's starting to not look right. Alright, so let's see what we look like. And sometimes, I think the lake is going to be over this ridge. I think we're going to see it just past. Wait a minute, we got a lake right here. Alright, sim toolkit. Yeah, I think the lake we're looking for is right up here. Let me show you that on sim toolkit. Okay, as you're looking at this, folks. Alright, you can see that. Let me, doing some climbing or descending. I'm going to zoom us in to here. There's where we're going. Okay, so we're back up at 8. So, and we're coming up on the top of descent, as you can see. There's our airplane. It's very hard to see. It's purple. We're on the live map, by the way. So that way, if there was other traffic around us, we'd see it. Here's what we're dealing with. Maybe, I'm going to turn it off phone. When we get into the lake area, I'll zoom it down and we'll be able to see better what we're dealing with. But once we cross this ridge line right here, I think we'll be able to descend. So, flat out absolutely. It's not going to have to check. Couple things. Oh, we're at 8,000. Of course. Still sticking to my guns. Across that ridge right here is going to be our lake. What I'm going to do, kind of zoom this into. I really hate this thing.
2,500.
Yeah, we're crossing over a peak here, folks. Let's take a look. Right, I'm not seeing the lake yet. Wait, there's a little bit of water right there, I think. Got to get over this ridge line though first. What I'll probably do is cross over, descending, and work our way into that arrival. Kind of set us up to what the heading should be, so I know what to be looking for. Looks like we have a lake. Last thing here on here, let's see, 1,900 feet. Don't have a heading on it, but 03 is what we'll look for. Alright, so let me get rid of some Toolkit here for you. And we're going to start our descent. My guess is that could be our runway. Oh, there's our runway right there. Alright, so let's go into that descent. Arm. Engage. 1,000. 1,200. Now we're going to pull back to anywhere from 1,000 down to 500 on our torque. Best way to set up for this would be. Alright. Okay, we're off the GPS now. Around due south. Almost 270, about 250. Actually, we're going to go a little further. And again, it said 1,900 feet, so we can actually, yeah, 1,900 feet.
Caution terrain. Caution terrain.
Just keep coming around now. Okay, and I'm setting our heading bug up, and we blew right through.
Okay. 1,000.
Runway in sight. Chandalar Lake traffic, Mac Air 572. About a 3-mile final. Runway 3. Full stop. Full flaps. Little high.
$1,000.
Still a little high, 80 knots, so is what we
500. 400.
Okay, coming up on 2,000. Get a little bit.
300. 200.
Stable.
100. 50, 30, 20, 10.
All right, folks, welcome to Chandalar Lake. Out of reverse. And we showed 191 foot a minute landing. It seemed a little rougher than that, but hey, folks. We're on the ground, 1,900 feet showing. All right, so well, unfortunately, I don't have an airport diagram to tell me where anything is here. So we're going to just have to do best guess. All right, however, we do have some things we can do. First thing is get the radar off. Flaps up. strobes off once we clear the runway. Oh, they're actually off now anyway. Go ahead and back taxi. All right, and finally landing and taxiway lights will all come off. Once we're off the runway, we'll come off of high idle. And for now, while we're taxiing, let's get that turned on. Alright, so we're coming down. We're just basically going to go to the other end. Getting my checklist set up. Alright. Okay, folks, again, welcome to Chandalar Lake Airport. I hope you enjoyed the flight. If you did, click follow. Hey, best way to tell me you enjoyed the flight and the entertainment along the way. Fun little airport to come into. Man, I got a little nervous there trying to turn for the runway, but thank the Lord we lined up and came in pretty decently for you. Also, folks, if you do like to stream, what it'll do is it'll send you an email letting you know the next time we're flying. When we hit that live streaming button, you'll get an email saying, hey, Flying with Mike is going between here and there. So we're almost back down here. I'm going to go ahead and use this brown spot that you see down here. Let me get around the airplane. Now you really kind of can't see it, but we're going to use that as where we're going to say the taxiway is, or the ramp is. Because again, it's not that well modeled, and well, coming up here in a couple of weeks with this show, we're going to actually end up at a place that's not on the sectional. Yeah, you heard me say it, not on that sectional. I think this is where I was at. Yep. Okay, so we're going to come off here. So let me go to this view. And Chandalar Lake traffic, Mac Air 572 is off runway 3, taxiing to park. And we'll just park it somewhere out here. Okay, parking brake set. Alright, so what we're going to do, turn the flight director off. We're going to get some of this stuff turned off already. Okay. Off. I don't know if I can turn this one off. Okay, no big deal. Avionics off. Okay, now we're going to come to low idle. Beacon stays on, all lights off. Okay, air conditioning all turned off, bleed air off. Okay, and we'll go up top, turn the oxygen off, still looking good. Okay. All right, standby. Okay, so let's get over to the switches. Standby power to off. Avionics is off. Fuel boost is off. Starters off. Okay, ITT minimum temperature, so let's look at that. We've been parked for about a minute. So what we're going to do is come out to here, pull the props back, get into a better view, go to idle cutoff. Okay. Well, folks, welcome again to Chandalar Lake, Alaska. We are on the ground. We thank you very much. If you'd like, well, you know, we probably will. What the heck? We're going to do a repeat flyby of it. We're going to go ahead and turn everything else off. All right, folks, so stand by, hopefully. One time I did this and it crashed. Oh, can't do that. That's right. Duck on it. All right, well, we got disconnected from VATSIM. That makes sense. I understand. And I also need to do that here. Stop my flight. Okay. File my PIREP. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and close that program for now. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and finish our flight here so it doesn't look wonky. In Sim Toolkit. All right. Okay, so now let's do the rewinds. Shouldn't be far to go back. We'll just kind of watch it from here. Let some music play too. Good morning, G-Nice for you. Just arrived in Chandler. We're doing a little rerun of the landing. We're going to be turning around here, heading to Arctic Village next. I believe that's northeast. We're using the Caravan instead of the beach 200, 190, whatever you want to call it. Mainly because it's a 3,000 foot boat. That's right at the max when we came here. So we took our little Caravan out for a spin these routes. And we'll see after that if we're going to be able to fly. I know Fort Yukon's in the picture, so we should be able to. I don't know about our village. But welcome aboard. Just getting a nice look at the landing prior to this. Off in the center. But, you know, hey, we're on the road. We're doing good. Let's take a look at it from a wing view. Let's see. Let's go from here. See what the passengers are seeing. Dang cell phones, I tell you, man. That didn't look too bad. Alright, let's take a look. Let's try this one. This looks a little bit more imaginative. Beautiful lakes. I'm here to tell you this is beautiful. There's cabins, according to the section, all around this. So this is spectacular. You own a float plane, this would be one of those places to be in the summer, not the winter. You might want to get off the runway. There is a plane coming at you. We appreciate the photos, but you might want to get off the runway. Okay, suit yourself. That happened, Mr. Buzz. All right, folks. Well, we're going to wrap this one up. We're going to keep the stream running, but we're going to switch gears into setting up the next flight. This part, I always have troubles, so I'm going to warn you ahead of time. So bear with me as we reset and set up for Chandalar to Arctic Village. We're just going to leave it running here for a moment. Actually, we'll let it run a little longer. Okay, so bear with me here. I'm going to fade that out.